teams, I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, definitely a lot of history of a hair coming into it that people might not necessarily expect. I'm also just really excited to see players like Twist and Pleasant continue to play within like the Swedish scene and whatnot. I just think it's really healthy. I think it's actually what the Swedish scene has been missing all this time, which is that veterans who step down and guide players onwards and outwards. It's always going to be a little bit difficult to sort of mentally justify that in your own head, because at the same time you have to be like, hey, I'm going down from the very top, but you got to do what you got to do.
Not to mention when the Swedish scene was hurting, a lot of people have this narrative about Twist where it's like he only played with his friends. He didn't really care about like achieving greatness to some degree, which is something that he's actively tried to dismiss. And we'll see if that actually bears fruit now that we're actually jumping into the game. Savage with a lot to prove, where ECSTATIC have basically every category of an advantage coming into this. A lot of duels already taken towards mid, and Max will actually get away with a drive-by, just being able to escape. Dafu as well, able to spot them aggressing in towards brackets, but they're not done.
He's just dry peeking back over, hoping that Wolfie can be the spotter to see if they're going back to B, but Wolfie, he's good for one. Nice, silent as can be, but not quite as silent as the grave. He's now inside. Desmond and Shawzy are just ripping apart in CT's spawn, and this is going to be back to a 3-on-2. The CT's trying to rotate with a double-prong assault back to B for a retake, but that's what Shawzy's hoping to intercept Dafu. Dafu's made a fair bit of noise, and Shawzy knows exactly what's happening. Nicely done. Back to a 1-on-3. So Manx, I mean, this is the point where you've got a flashbang, you've got Kevlar, but he's actually gone and picked up the kid as well. Was on top of the roof, so maybe a chance for the if you can tap some quick heads, but instead it's his own. And does end up being tapped.
This is one of the threats that Savage can have, is that they could just create so much room with the amount of aggression that they have in terms of that 3 entry fragger position that Savage can hold. Players are comfortable playing forward positions, even in post plants. Obviously, it's a 3v1, but that round was just chaotic from start to finish. Savage just barreling their way up through mid, through spawn. You could see ECSTATIC were a little thrown off by how in-your-face Savage wanted to approach that one.
Yeah.
They're leaving the bomb in spawn. Not an ideal start usually, but
you say that, but at the same time, that just means more incentive to kill them all with your double Mac 10. Michael, this is money management. Look it up. God, you'd be a terrible financial advisor.
Well, I feel like I'd be a better route optimizer.
Yeah. He's just going to be over here, tearing them all apart. You know what? If you can get 4 kills with an AK, that's like 2 kills with a Mac 10, so that's still money in the bank. Whatever.
Honestly, that's all Dezen, man. He just gives all that information over to Chorzy. Like, there's 5 players running at you right now, so you better be prepared for these fights. Dezen was just chilling in the underpass, just like, yep, you guys are having a grand old time over there. I'm just going to relax.
ECSTATIC, however, cannot relax even if they have brought out the AWP. Very little utility on that. Very little utility overall. So it will be interesting to see whether or not they prioritize a highly defensive setup. But actually, deep mid-smoke, and they could be threatening the boost behind it if they'd like to late round. But a lot of apartments utility expended by the terrorist side to keep them away. And for now, it's just going to be standard bracket control setups coming out from the CT side.
Yeah, they've had to go with the AWP on Manx as well, because he's the only one that can be able to afford it properly without really compromising utility on other players as well. So Wolfie will have the M4 himself. Actually want to get a little bit aggressive with what little they have. Thatcher, a lot of damage being done by the Mac 10. Twist not able to convert on either kill though. And now the brackets control. The flashes are great. But Wolfie and Bird from Sky able to get at least a couple of kills just while that's all happening. But Manx with that AWP overwhelmed. And ECSTATIC are nowhere near enough to this bomb site to contest it.
It's also just such an awkward position to be putting yourself in as Manx, where you are relying on backing off from the apartments to potentially get back into pit or whatnot. But with how fast Savage was with their, quick explode flashes inside, I mean, Wolfie was even playing anti-flash for a while, but when he gets all that information, dodges out the first flash out, the second one catches him completely blind. Otherwise, that could have been Savage ending up losing more than just the 2 players they did. This is also one of the issues with having so little utility, obviously, Michael, is that you can't really rotate back when you can't get information with a quick flash over on B-bomb side and all that good stuff as well. So it's very difficult to keep a hold on it.
Yeah, you see the limitations of what the move that Fasher wants to make, because they don't have follow-up flashbangs, they don't have nades or molotovs to clear out some of these closer angles as well, where he gets that deep peek down banana, but there's a player right next to him before he even realizes. So sure, they get away with those couple of rifles, but you can see that Savage aren't just some 5 players pulled together. Like there is a counter reaction almost immediately to what ECSTATIC are bringing to the table. As soon as there's aggression towards Banana, that's where they just burst into that brackets position and make sure that ECSTATIC can never get comfortable.
ECSTATIC, however, are not looking to be comfortable in any way, especially not in their monetary fashion. Of course, they will be able to pull out a buy in the next one as well, with the full loss bonus they have, but they want to be able to pull through a bit more utility this time over than armor itself, which I personally really appreciate. I think it's something that you should see more often. Bird from Sky inside the smoke. Lesson will meet his demise.
One of the dangers of taking smoke fights against A1Ss is that they get a small whiff of you. A little bit of echolocation is all that's needed to track down that kill.
Blind as a bat. He didn't even get a whiff. He was just like, whatever. We can try and shoot anyway.
Yeah, I might have heard a shot or two just in the blindness.
Yeah.
Of course, you're a little deaf during that period as well.
Ooh. Oh.
Yeah.
Crux is getting to feel it.
A little spooky. A little spooky. Because they don't want to run into these A1Ss, and inevitably that's going to be the case with the Bird from Sky rotation.
Wolfie's also in a very strong spot over here with the flashbang outwards. He could just go for a quick peek, decides against it, wants to just maintain, and threaten. At the same time, you've got that one smoke chucked out now by Fasha. And now he can just try and play from behind it, because he's got an M4A1 as well. He can just spam through the smoke if they're looking to rush in. They know that Savage have used a lot of that utility, so you're going to be limited on Molotovs and whatnot to come through your way. And now with a full execute coming in, Bird from Sky's got to commit and deliver. Great first one, follow-ups there as well. He's just tearing them apart. The smoke's coming in perfectly to his favor, and Shawzy's all alone. Suddenly an eco is where they'll be chased down and forced to tuck their tails and hide.
Yeah, they won't be able to get their hands on an AWP, but it's a round that they shouldn't be winning. Bird from Sky, just so active in this round, not only being a part of the early B-side aggression, but then making his way over towards A just to meet this bursting execute that Savage had prepared. And it's just doing so much damage through these smokes consistently in the round as well. So great job from Bird from Sky, great read on what's going on as well and what Savage might have had planned.
I just realized that stinger animation is like 2 spotlights sweeping it all in together. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's why I've got the double light set up myself now. So.
I mean, look, Franco, you know, you've got all the doohickeys, all the gear, but right now, so do the CT side. They've got everything they possibly need to be able to get away with a round, and the question is, can they actually do just that?
Bit more of that banana aggression into ECSTATIC. I don't think they want to just simply concede top B control, but with that nade putting them to relatively low HP does mean that they're a couple bullets away from death. The problem is, Bird from Sky is still relentless through these smokes. There is a kill in response. Will force Fasher back, and that will actually pull that rotation away from that A bomb site where they were hoping to have 3 at this side of the map. Now simply 2, and maybe we see Savage just continue to hammer it.
Wolf is going to be going for a dry repeat back into this pretty soon. At least that's what it looks like. Do you have any flashes? Manx has 1, so maybe there's that. But Manx instead chooses to go in for the double peek. The trade out manually, and now back onto the bomb site. Elevated position is held, but can he actually hold this angle down? Ooh. Yes, he can. Beautiful stuff. A quick 2K, and Shawzy now met with the flashbang, met with the player right on the side, and he's been forced back to default. A spam forward as Manx saw his gun barrel sticking out for a second. Is able to take him down as well. ECSTATIC finding themselves their second off the back of another fantastic A-side hold.
I imagine we'll see in the next coming rounds, especially if ECSTATIC are going to be able to put an end to these A hits as simply as that Savage may prioritize other areas of the map instead. They actually heard Wolfie scope in on the bomb side as well, so they knew that push was coming, but being able to trade things out was all too important. Mank's actually going for an aggressive route, and he's been 1D trying to cross through the window. Oh. That's not an easy shot to hit. Like, we didn't get it from Plesson's point of view, but he only catches a glimpse, and that's all he needs. Thank you for the M4.
That's not something to be underestimated. Let's not forget the CT side. This is how they've managed to get this quick little wind of success as well, off the back of a half-fire win. Savage as well. right now they're just playing out super defaulty.
Waiting for ECSTATIC to make a mistake or push for some extra information. You can see Butler from Sky going for a couple of these jump spots, and the Molotov will at least slow them down. A little awkward here for ECSTATIC. See, they're not even considering the rotate back to B, and that will be looking like the right call. Savage have been a little fixated on A instead. With 35 seconds left, they will have to get a move on. Very limited utility to try and make this one work. A singular smoke and flash is all that they have to burst onto the scene.
You've also got very little utility left for the CT side, though, so you're relying on drive firepower, and turns out Daffy and Fasher are more than adept at providing that. Grux, of course, can at least come through with one, but now with a Glock, maybe a jump up and a bomb plant can be secured. There's a gun as well, switched out for AK in hand. Can he pull it out and quickly take down the sniper? On the other side, might not even need to. Inside the smoke is Wolfie, and that's given Grux time to re-navigate around. This could be a big one. Grux is waiting for the push through, but they're all ducked down and out. Grux won't realize, but now he's peeked forward, knows where the last one is as well. Wolfie misses his opportunity. Grux might have just have it over here, pulls out the Glock, but he can't finish it off. Wolfie! The USP is what saves them, but oh my god, is it costly.
That is so dangerous and so close for Grux to be able to pull that through. Man, as soon as he whips onto that first player on that double push, he found a great timing to exploit the fact that Wolfie only had this USP. Had so much time for that spray, but the box tanking so much the damage. A little bit of a heartbreaker there from Savage. Not a round that they're supposed to win, of course, with the limited investment that they had coming into it, but ECSTATIC have had one themselves that's been won so far. So if there is karma, you know, a bit of back and forth, would have liked to be exchanged there for Savage. Of course, a full reinvestment as they went for that half buy. And it does leave and damage that ECSTATIC economy that was looking to be set up for future rounds. Far more than I expected in the round prior.
Look at how defensive Savage just played that one for the first 20 seconds. They literally stayed on T stairs, Michael.
It's a good understanding as well about how ECSTATIC like to approach their CT sides. They like to go for some coordinated pushes. Again, they very much call what they want to do in the early sort of 30 seconds of a round, and they're pretty committed to that idea usually. So I think Savage doing some of that prep work, understanding that ECSTATIC could find early advantages off some of these pushes.
Oh, Wolfie's caught out. Plesson's the one to take him down. And that's the only person who's over towards that B bomb site. So you immediately see the double rotation from ECSTATIC coming through. And now Savage, they've got plenty of time to be able to let Grux try and navigate through the lurk on his own. But that lurk, it's pretty committed to being the solitary member on the A bomb site right now.
Smoke's over. They know what's coming. Smoke to counteract it. But Plesson's closer than they realize. Dafu on the high ground does at least find some extra damage, but they lose Bird from Sky all the meanwhile. And so that means that bomb site can be conceded. There is nobody within it to prevent them from getting this plant down.
Nice flashbang and a grenade as well, right to boot. And with the bomb being planted, Shawzy's going to find one through the smoke. Max will fall. He was trying to give them the boost up, and Dafu, well, he was the boostee. Or rather, the booster. Not going to lie and pretend like I knew exactly what their relationship was, but they do both end up falling regardless.
Yeah, who's on Michael, who's on top? That's a preference.
Exactly. That's something you can't just speculate about. But Michael, the other thing to also just keep in mind over here is a very small thing that Plesson did there is that he tries to cheat pass before the utility can sail through and get a quick kill. But when the CT smoke blooms, he's anticipating a flashbang and backs off. And that's where he loses that initial timing, because in that time, a Molotov was thrown out by the CT players, and Plesson's just in this impossible entry path position where had he chosen to commit, that's still fine. You know, you try and get past a Hobbit, you're going to be okay with that, even if there's a flashbang coming. But if he tries to back off, now there's a Molotov separating him and his teammates, so it just puts him in the worst duel imaginable. And that's where, you know, you just lose out that first prong of assault. But even despite that, ECSTATIC just aren't able to hold it down.
Yeah, also with the smoke basically leaving the hands of a CT player so close to him, like a good understanding of how the potential setup is there for the CT side. I actually thought ECSTATIC had a good read on the situation, considering they found a high priority kill in Wolfie. Pacey, this time over here from Savage. They've been sitting back so many rounds over, but early pressure over towards top banana, and they're having to exchange utility because of it. Bird from Sky does get overwhelmed, but the Trolls of Yorp is actually caught switching, it seems like. Fasher able to get away with a secondary kill that it didn't seem like he would be able to come out ahead on. So this early pace here from Savage is ground to a halt.
Chelsea might have been gray screened over there, actually. I'm not sure. I'm sure we'll find out in the replay, but Wolfie. Now, all he has to do is worry about Blessin, who's barely got any utility. They're going for a quick ramp, rather a quick center push coming through and a double entry in, and that's what you have it. Dezon. Oh, Fasher might actually be looking to go for this one, Michael. He's had a great round so far, but a quick peek out from Dezon will finish him off despite the early advantages found. ECSTATIC are so hell-bent on sort of, well, not really hell-bent, but they're putting so much emphasis on holding down brackets, even in these situations where they might have found a lot of information and want to start them out, that they're falling prey to Savage's flashbang into entries.
Yeah, we did miss it on the replay, just slightly, but we saw the aftermath all before Dezon was let loose. Talked a lot about the entry capacity of this Savage squad already, and that coming into full effect where it's just that A side hold, the short side pressure just doesn't work out. So we'll never know. Was he gray screen? Was he quick switching? Who can even say, really?
Indeed.
The ECSTATIC timeout, though, does come at a time where they can't actually go for a buy. Setting out a plan for future rounds, perhaps. I'm actually liking some of the intricacies of these two teams. Sometimes you do just get teams that only find success on the extra pace, or they've just got like a crazy star player. It does feel like they're constantly trying to read into each other's game plan. Very much a testament to the longevity of a map like Inferno as well.
Yeah. If this was Vertigo, don't know if that would be the case. I mean, that's probably would be. I just don't like Vertigo, Michael.
Oh, well, there you go.
Plus, though, you know what he loves, Michael? He loves getting himself some blinded eco frags.
Come on,
because
man.
You gotta still make it look stylish. You gotta still make it count. But they're eco kills. So what do? Well, you face a flashbang, then you kill them while you're blind.
He gets 4 kills. He gets 2 while blind, and Twist is like, you know what, man? I know you're maybe gonna ace this, so I'm just gonna make sure you just don't die. Which is,
hey, it's called an ego check, okay? You're just making sure your players don't end up developing an ego. That's it's very important. It's true leadership coming out from Twist. That's where you can see that veteran. Exactly. Who needs Dr. Phil? Literally no one.
Yeah, very few people. I feel like they'd be better off.
Chelsea, though, would really like to be able to get a quick kill onto the player trying to aggress onto him, but Bird from Sky actually, double nades as well. Shazi, he's been barraged.
And still not taking that much damage because of it, so somehow able to put himself between 2 of those grenades. Explosions either side of him, but not close enough to reap the rewards. Are ECSTATIC. It's just an unideal situation for ECSTATIC because they haven't been able to have the AWP come into action too many of these rounds either. So you're constantly having to fight against that economy, which has been favoring the CT side as of late. A1S being more affordable has changed the dynamic. Good position here for Wolfie around the back of the smoke. Definitely understands that the player in the cubby, but Grux able to spam him just around the corner of that smoke in the arches, and now it opens it up for a wrap as well.
Fasher. West is just going to try and jiggle peek that one out. Fasher will end up backing off, but can't say the same about Bird from Sky. He's in a very difficult position of retreat, but with all the spam missing, Bird from Sky is somehow invulnerable.
These B players have no support. The A players are completely cut off, and that kill through smoke might just open up the round entirely.
Bird from Sky has to come through massively. He knows he can't back off away. All he can do is go forward and meet his death head on. That's exactly what ends up happening. ECSTATIC have given up that B bomb site, like you mentioned, Michael, and that's going to be another round for Savage coming through with a lot of players kept alive.
especially with how ECSTATIC have been playing some of these mid rounds, when they lose a player, Savage have I think quickly recognized that they haven't been going for these gamble stack rotations too heavily. As soon as they take over the arches, they immediately understand that that B bomb site, those players have no support coming. Any utility that they were counting in the early round has broad implications, because we haven't seen ECSTATIC, I think, go for too many of these 3B or 4B pushes at the start of rounds either. And so with I think it was Grux just holding down that position, ECSTATIC are just kind of left on this island. So it does come via kill through smoke, but it felt like ECSTATIC were in for a world of hurt regardless.
The other thing to also sort of just keep an eye out for is how heavily ECSTATIC are sort of using their utility onto Banana early on, and then committing to the top of Banana and staying there for so long as well. Of course, they do end up backing off securely into the B bomb site over here, but the thing that still you have to keep in mind is that a lot of teams these days have been prioritizing using grenades later on to try and prevent that sort of B rush coming in, and they're very quick to give up that top B position because of the Molotov that's become more default from the T sign to be chucked over towards the car spot. So it's hard to maintain, because then you just get forced away by a molly or a double nade into sandbags. So although they've been able to avoid that part, they end up using a lot of that utility early on, but this time they found a kill off the back of it. So it's been mixed success. Bird from Sky has had a few rounds where he just sort of destroyed them, but you can also see the counteraction.
Especially in a round where Savage haven't set up for an early take of it. Oh, shoulder spotted as well in Grux, so they know they understood the apartments were compromised anyway. But they do get a kill over towards B all the meanwhile. So this might actually pull the brunt of the aggression back the other direction, but they're still pushing forward. Dezen finding the kill into the apartments, and now it's just Dafu alone on this A site.
He is very much on an airborne island right now. There's no support whatsoever, and Wolfie, even by the time he comes in, that's an MP9. That is basically... I mean, that's the worst kind of support you can really ask for when it's going to be...
You wouldn't put too much stock on it saving you.
Yeah. And I really like this move actually coming out from Wolfie. Wolfie's backed off completely. He's going over towards the B bomb side instead, and that's where he can really actually add something to the conversation.
Audible there for Dezen. Understands the player was on that hay bales, but doesn't have numbers. 20 seconds. Nothing can go wrong here for Savage. They need to make their move.
And right now, again, you've got no offensive utility to actually stop them from coming in. 15 seconds, and Savage have shown so much comfort of committing over here, but they might not expect Bird from Sky in the back of the bomb site. That's a bomb drop. He's got the second as well. Just needs to back off and stay alive. Dezon, good for a kill, and that'll whittle down the CT economy, but at least they're going to be able to find the round in such precarious circumstances.
One of the few times I think we've seen Savage, I think, overthink a round where they're able to get relatively consistent success in some of these picks. Again, like I was highlighting earlier, ECSTATIC haven't been going for some of these gamble rotations, haven't been cheating them over to the sites that they think are going to be under siege. We see it in this round, in fact, where Wolfie is able to get through those arches, get to the bomb site in time, but there's nobody there on the side of Savage to contain or prevent that rotate from coming in. And so I think with how much time ground out and the lack of pace on that A site, just felt a little bit more comfortable going the other direction instead, hoping that ECSTATIC makes the mistake. But having enough in the tank there from ECSTATIC to pull through in a round where we were almost getting ready to count them out. See them committed to that top B presence once again here on the side of ECSTATIC.
Yeah. This time they give them bracket control a little bit more easily than what they've generally been going for. And if they are thinking about a retake bracket strategy, I actually quite like that idea. Now, the problem is that their B players who are trying to get some control are not going to have to be rotating away. And that's a long rotation, and Dafu has to cover all in the meanwhile. Dafu, though, backs off into the bomb site, doesn't want to continue taking duels with the MP9. Manx is left to try and fight up. Farmers won't fare any better. Blessing just brings him down. Dezon with the second entry, and Michael... I mean, I think you were right. These guys do have like a million entry players, and they make it work.
Yeah, it's the triple threat that's constantly there. That's why it's almost like not necessary that Chorsley be this initiative type of AWPer. Again, I think he's very much like a punishment player in that respect. But you see the drawback of that particular setup you're trying to highlight is that the fact that they get brackets for free in that instance, they're able to get more pressure applied to the arches and have more resources to do so as well. and they just can't deal with the simultaneous push from both attacking angles on this A bomb site in time. Just the fact as well that Pleasant is so composed in that mini pit fight, it's a very easy one to let slip, considering the way that they can sort of maneuver up and down. It's like whack-a-mole.
Yeah. Also, just to give some credit out to Savage, actually that push coming out from Bird from Sky and Fasher over towards the B-bomb site where they wanted to get into mid, it is completely thwarted by a single flashbang. I'm not sure who did it. I think it might have been Chauzy, but I don't want to sort of be wrong about that. But one flashbang made it so they didn't feel comfortable pushing through to mid, so that second prong of assault from the CTs that could have come through becomes an infinitely longer rotation because they have to go all the way back from B to CT spawn, then to A, which is just never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So nicely done by Savage. They're very well aware of the idea that if ECSTATIC want to be pushing through, just a little bit of threat at that key point will, make them hesitate long enough that Arch's control, as well as the entry kills, have already come through, and by that time, it's too late.
Just super important that they have somebody keeping the B aggression in check to some degree, because in instances where Savage haven't gone aggressive, like ECSTATIC aren't just going to be content with having top B control the entire round. It's where you want to actually see a couple of these cheated rotations.
Yeah, for sure. Can I just quickly comment on something, Michael? Is it just me, or are all of these like new teams sort of that are scratching the top 20, top 25? Why do they all have like 6 map pools? Where are the days of 4.5 map pools?
Oh no, those teams still exist. I think we've covered some relatively recently where it's like, oh yeah, their map pool is
okay. Other than Eternal Fire.
Yeah, well, there you go. They're expanding. They're getting better.
They are indeed, but it's still crazy to me that like teams like Savage, but it makes a lot of sense because obviously back in the older days of Counter-Strike, you never had some of these lower tier teams sticking together for that long, so you couldn't really build up that team structure that's necessary for a deeper map pool. These scores have been together for ages. And that's just one of these fantastic things that I just really enjoy it personally. Like, that we're getting to a point where we can have viable organizations, not for Savage right now, but I'm sure they'll get one soon as well. I hope so.
Well, it's one of the big arguments to actually just always keep the same maps to some degree and have like limited in and outs of bringing in new maps or getting rid of old ones. Well, we've been talking over this round. There's 30 seconds left, and there's a couple rifles still here for ECSTATIC. They have gone for a bit of a stack on this A bomb site, and that's where Savage are headed. And by the time these smokes bloom, I think ECSTATIC will have a clear picture.
This has been where a lot of success has been found for ECSTATIC, and Fasha over here. AK drops the bomb early on. They need to try and recover, and his position is so difficult to deal with. There won't be time any longer. Twist and Chauzy need to get onto the bomb site, and Twist can't do it. Fasha holds it down with 3 kills, and that's just one of those positions where Savage have found themselves countless times that you're trying to get onto the A-bomb site with 30 seconds left. No mollies to try and flush out the actual site contents itself. And with that, you end up walking into someone who just shoots you down from behind the pillar.
Yeah, most of the times that they've been going for some of these A plays where, you're seeing that clock grind down to such a low point that basically nothing can go wrong. On the A side of things, they've typically been losing a player in the early rounds to do this. This time they had all 5. And the real drawback is that they're not playing this sort of extremity style with these lurking / entry players on either side of the map, which might actually just lead into that discussion of, hey, Savage, they've got 8 rounds already on this T side. I think we're seeing more and more the numbers skew towards like a 9-6 in favor of CT typically. And so is 8 enough that you can start to explore and go for some of these like riskier hits to some degree? Maybe, but considering the fact that ECSTATIC don't have a lot to work off of in that round, you should almost be taking all these extra liberties that are allowed to.
Oh, 100%. This should have been one of those freebie rounds, which helps you get to potentially 10 or 9's guaranteed at the very least. So, Michael, this is also one of those positions where you have to start looking at what sort of worked for them, what hasn't, which is that Savage, when they're actually successful in getting a bomb site take, they've generally been finding picks inside brackets or over towards the arches and using that control to sort of maneuver the map out and force the B rotations to not be there. On one side, obviously there's ECSTATIC having cheated rotations over for one of the first times that they did just stack on the A-bomb side, which is nice. But on the other side, this is also where Savage have struggled to liberate the A-bomb side if they haven't already found entry kills.
I think towards the tail end of that round, we saw Chelsea kind of lag out in the open when he was just trying to move into save. So I think they're just checking that his internet's all stable. Yeah, I think 8 is enough now where Savage can be comfortable enough, but they have given up some rounds that they really shouldn't have. We've seen now 2 rounds in which there's been a couple of saved weapons that have had broader implications. It's led to some of these ecstatic wins and has actually kind of slingshot them into the possession of like 3 or 4 rounds effectively. Whereas if in these straight up gun rounds, Savage have been navigating the map almost flawlessly. Wonder what changes here for the CT side, or whether they maintain this sort of 2-3 split that they're doing on the B and A bomb site respectively, because at the moment all of that fighting is occurring towards top banana, and that may just be the focus because Bird from Sky usually likes to get involved in that action. Sometimes, especially on T sides, he'll play like a very lurk oriented role. I think what he wants to do is put his team in the better position, and then he take like the worst spots effectively, or where he doesn't think they're going to go. But I almost feel like there has to be some sort of initiative play over towards A. It might be a little too late in the half to establish that or set that precedent.
Yeah.
But it could be a nice little mix-up for Savage to feel a little less comfortable. Because if you're going to get aggressive on CT sides, it can't always be the same spot, because at that point, that is true. The expectation.
That is true. That is definitely true. Let's also not forget that recently, looking towards ECSTATIC and when they've been playing Inferno, they have actually had a lot of these. They've had a bit of a win streak of their own until they just lost to Copenhagen Flames. They had about 5, 6, 7 games in a row that they'd won as well. So it's not like these guys aren't very comfortable in Inferno, but at the same time, what that comes with is it's very difficult to put yourself in a position where you can continue to adjust your CT signs in particular. I feel like a lot of teams do actually have a lot more like micro adjustments in their T sides, because T sides are what end up being countered more often, more frequently, researched into more frequently. CT sides, generally speaking, it can just end up being sort of the given that, okay, we know how to play off of each other, guys, figure out your own setups, and we'll try and make it work over there. And for other maps, which, we don't have this great win streak on, that's where we'll focus more in the meanwhile. So this could maybe even be a bit of a byproduct of that coming into play. I don't want to read too much into it for that, but maybe something on those lines to be considered as well. Obviously, they do actually have a fantastic coach. I believe they used to have a fantastic coach, rather. I believe that Fetish used to be coaching them for a very long time, actually from 2018 till June of 2021. So they have a lot of structure and veteran leadership, giving them practice regiments and giving them how to practice and how to sort of keep leveling up and all of those things as well in their history. So I'm sure that these guys have some sort of regiments in practice, but very often what you'll notice is that regiments in practice end up being what needing to change very heavily as you go higher and higher.
Yeah, and more recently, of course, they had Trace as well as their coach for a lot of this Fasher Wolfie dynamic as well.
MTW Trace?
I believe so.
Really? Wait, I didn't know that. I'm going to check this.
Yeah. He was with them for about 3 months, I believe.
Wow.
And recently left to pursue his own projects, I believe. So
that's pretty nuts, man. Denmark's crazy. Denmark's actually insane. Like, when you consider, oh well, Astralis just lost out. Zonic, what are you gonna end up having? Well, okay, we're just gonna bring Avin. Oh, okay. Well, then someone else, all the other teams must be not having great coaches, right, Michael? No, actually, we actually had Fetish coming in. We also had Trace coming in at one point or there. We've actually had like a legacy of in-game leaders all coming in.
There's the great thing about like Counter-Strike at the moment is because obviously we have a long history within the esports space. Like, there's a lot of older generation players that are still trying to look for identities in the current scene of things. Maybe they're not as relevant as a player anymore, and so that always is the natural progression. Either you go into like organization management, you go into team management, you go into coaching, analyst roles. I mean, seeing some of these legendary names and teams that players that have had a lot of success in like the major circuit as well. Like Exist is moving into analyst roles as well. It's an exciting time to that degree. It's a little sad to see some of these older names go in that regard. Like you won't see them in the server as much, but it's always an interesting dynamic where it's like the old versus the new.
And it's just fun.
Yeah, no, it is super fun.
Oh dear, that flashbang though, a little bit less so. That means they might have an opportunity to take a quick peek down mid. Wolfie, however, has been tagged up. A man inside the snake pit. That is Pleasant shooting down his leg.
Yeah, Wolfie's actually like a big component of ECSTATIC that hasn't had the best of games so far. We've talked about the limitations of some of that CT side economy so far. I think the first time they actually had the AWP on the CT side, it was in Manx' hands because he was the only one able to afford it properly. And his position lent itself to it. Oh, a little bit of noise. They know that the player close to the arches, and so Wolfie's position will be smoked off. In fact, there are 3 players close by to have contested that should Savage have actually committed to some sort of an arch take. And now they have stacked in for this A-side play. This is what we were talking about earlier, where they've gotten some possession of deep banana control, and so they can just have one player keeping it in check.
And ECSTATIC desperately need to be able to find 7, but from Sky, he's just a flashbang and a push through from Blessing is exactly what ends up catching him off to be forced back. And you can see the rotations as well from ECSTATIC. They're just trigger happy as can be. They bring 2 players back, and that 4-man stack on A is just going to completely fall onto its behind. Dafu. Oh, so clean. Comes up with the 2 big ones, and now rotation's going to be here in time as well to continue pressuring up. Manx inside the smoke has to be careful, but he gets a kill anyway. Fasher's also on the bomb side. You can keep on holding this, and because Pleasant saw Manx initially, he just doesn't commit to that duel. Even if he had, would have been a very difficult round to actually get away with. But my God, that's pretty nuts defense.
Yeah, the fact that Dafu is mid transition, like he's trying to get into a better position to where he can hold a crossfire with Fasher, but he gets 2 even out in the open. Like that's an off angle Savage weren't expecting. Neither was he, but truly, a little bit quicker to the draw.
Manx as well just managed to spam away inside the smoke, and that's one of the benefits of having the M4A1 against these very small, narrow angles like you do have towards a short from library.
Yeah, actually, I think it cleared the mind of Savage to think there wasn't anyone in the bomb site, so...
Yeah.
Last round of the half. See if ECSTATIC can get themselves up to 7. Enough of a bridged journey. Make that second half a little easier.
Oh, Chauzy with the flick. Bird from Sky is going to end up dying in the sky. Never quite a great feeling as a bird.
Stuck hunting.
Yeah. These aren't clay pigeons either. Listen, flashes and whatnot all coming his way. They've put a lot of emphasis onto the B-bomb side, but this time ECSTATIC are not rotating away. They are heavily committed to A, and Wolfie finding the kill will mean that they should be happy with this commitment. Now, that being said, Savage do have space to rotate back to B, and with Twist, who's completely cleared out Hobbit, who's made sure there's no one scoped in on CT spawn, and now knows the position of one player as well, he'll be able to force back a rotation. But where did they actually commit? Dafu, flashbang's been missed.
Oh god, and now Fasher's gone as well. Flashes could have provided enough space. Dafu does rotate in. He's moving past the smoke as well, but that's another kill in for Pleasant instead. ECSTATIC, 2 men left to try and get themselves a 7th round, but Savage with such a big man advantage and firm site control.
Savage just played this round out beautifully, but right now, Wolfie and Manx have got to try and make it happen. You don't have any other option, and as Wolfie is leading forward, there's too many angles to be peeking into. Manx will end up finding Pleasant at the very least initially, but Grox is there. Quick trade, and another from Twist will give them 9. We're off to a break. Can ECSTATIC bring it back in the second half? We'll have to wait to see. I know I'm going to say that I'll never get tired of that stinger, but I probably will. Just not today. It's still great, and so is ESL Challenger. We're back with ECSTATIC versus Savage. So far, ECSTATIC having struggled a fair bit, and Savage having looked, well, true to the name.
Yeah, they've been brutal. And this is not a happy place to be if you're ECSTATIC. 6 rounds only on that CT side.
Have they gotten wrecked?
Potentially. Still yet to be determined. Of course, this is the map pick of Savage. Of course, our beautiful graphics do display that, in fact. And we understand that they were going to come into this with a lot of confidence as well with that winning streak they've been on. Even the few losses that they have had were rather close showings. So we'll see if ECSTATIC can add another one to the tally, or maybe it's just a freebie that Savage are just expected to win.
That's a lot of util coming in, and Savage are going to evade all of it. Deep CT smoke as well early on. I mean, what's going on here?
Why is there so many CTs running around with unsilenced USPs?
They're never going to know what hit him. No one ever hears that sound in Counter-Strike. Twist, however, wants to hear the sound of people dying. That's not going to end up happening, though. Instead, he's tagged up. He's got a grenade in his pocket if he wants to use it, but not expending it yet. Now, as a bomb is being planted, that would be quite nice, and indeed it is a kill on top of it as well. Vasher will end up falling, and now it's a 5-on-3 retake. Twist on the off angle, hoping to catch someone off to a smoke, and I'm still very confused about this unsilenced USP, but Dafu and Mangs are putting it to bed. Dafu all alone in a one-on-one. Shawzy has to step up to the plate. A smoke down. Kid is there as well, sticking it, and Dafu isn't quite on point. Will be able to get the knife, but he can't get the round. ECSTATIC are unable to take it on.
Oh, dear. He almost had it lined up perfectly for the spam as well, but you could see Cholsey had that one in his mind, and Dafu wasn't waiting around. Understood the smoke. There's an indicator, an idea of what's happening. And sure, yeah, extra money in the pocket, but would have been happier to take the round instead.
They have an op after they lost their round. That's kind of crazy. Wow.
One exchange that's occurred over here. Dafu gets like a little dropped over to him. That's the tax, at least. Heard from Sky takes the hit.
That's actually insane.
Yeah, so this is a very scary second round buy here from ECSTATIC, even with them losing that round. Sometimes you see T sides have a better buy anyway. But you can see even indicators from the pistol. Bro, I love that the last round, like the first pistol we see in the second half, like 4 or 5 players are running around with utility on the map. It's far more than you sometimes expect.
Yeah. Also, can I just say, I'm not going to let Grux go for that unsilenced pistol. I do want to find out why that was going on.
Well, he wasn't alone either. Yeah, it was a teammate firing off with him as well.
Peer pressure. It ruins lives.
It's also maybe just trying to add a little bit of that psychological element. Like, these guys are using unsilenced USPs, like, statistically just worse.
And they lost, so...
Yeah.
You know? Maybe that is the psychological pressure. ECSTATIC just aren't able to keep up with it. And Mangs, however, can keep up with Pleasant anyway. Even goes for another peek straight in through middle. This Lurk's getting very aggressive. And now with the smoke going out towards Moto, Chawsey caught in mid-air. He's still going to be alive, but maybe not for long. Mangs wants to continue forward. Twist on the other side is there to drop the bomb, but he can't retreat into the cubby in time. Now you've still got Wolfie up. That has to strike soon. Shawzy, though, inside the coffins, and Grux on the sidelines. He'll be able to put another man to bed. Now waits for the push to come through. Wolfie trying to entry. Grux is just holding them back, and he's done it all. 11 secured. What a round from Savage.
Yeah, and Savage almost get out-rotated here. They start to make their way over towards that B side just as ECSTATIC are accelerating at A, but they get into that graveyard position in time, and that's where really things set up to go wrong. So much damage done by Cholsey to line up these kills for Grux as well. They knew the time was going to start to be a factor for this ECSTATIC team as more rotations came through as well. Like, the fact that Cholsey got into that position, that was never going to be cleared there from ECSTATIC. Danger looms. The Savage have got the ball rolling nice and early. They even get their hands on that AWP. Like, thank you very much. All that extra knife money into the pockets of Savage instead.
That's still insane to me, Michael. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen that. An AWP in the second round.
No,
on
yeah,
the team that lost.
Oh, Now that little caveat does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out about that one later on. Grenade goes in, not too much damage being dealt, but these Savage players are also actually holding on to top banana for quite a while longer. Twist bams through. That's the MP9 coming into play, but trades are very quick. And from the CT side, they'll come out on top, courtesy of Desmond.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of hope here for Dafu, is there? So, just trying to see if he can find some sort of isolated duel. Is somebody pushing the apartments? So somebody in the actual A-side apartments? Maybe? That will be the hunt he's going for. Inevitably, he will have to die like the rest of them.
Wow, that's morbid.
Well, you know, go down with you go down with the ship.
Inevitably, everyone has to die.
That is also true.
So why would you play a game? Because more than just that. I don't know why I'm still continuing on. With
Yeah,
that
I don't
bit,
know.
hey,
I don't know what that is supposed to be, to be quite honest.
I'm preparing for the red eye impression that eventually I will have to do at some point or the other.
Yeah, see, that's just not his voice. So.
No, I'm preparing for it. Like I'm leading into it. So I'm sort of going in through different characters, besmirching them all, so that it doesn't seem like I'm only offending his name.
I thought you were going the other route where it's like, you know, the Matrix Batman is coming back, where you're talking about like, is death even inevitable? Because so maybe we're just all in a simulation. So I
actually watched like a clip from the old Matrix movies. You know the kung fu bit where Morpheus and Neo and like Neo
of course.
That was pretty cool.
It's iconic.
Man.
It's iconic.
Yeah, it was nuts. Oh, quick little push coming out over towards Banana, and Twist is here to cover. Dezen, however, has to be once again the delivery man, although he's lost the packages. Only managed to pick up 2 stops on his way down, and now flashbangs avoided, Molotovs deployed, and that molly won't be going in far enough to prevent the bomb from being planted, but Wolfie will still go down. So a last-taken spread, and Savage can still take this one away.
Again, another physics lesson for those out there. Fire rises. The Molotov was at least in a position where it could threaten the jump off of that first orange's boost. And, well, while he was mid-transition, got caught in the flames.
There should be some level of verticality where you're not affected by a Molotov. I will stand by that forever.
I think there is, but it's like 2.5 people's height or something. Yeah,
okay. So if I jump up on oranges, I shouldn't get hurt by it.
For example, if you Molotov underneath the bomb site at B, so you know there's like a little cubby or on overpass, right?
Yeah.
And you stand on top of the bomb site, you're fine. So it might be like
are you fine if you have like a 4-man boost on overpass and you're on the top?
Well, yes. I mean, the people at the bottom know, but
no, well, who cares
at the top? Yeah, he's chilling. I think, yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. I will have to check this one later on. But ECSTATIC will also have to check themselves because they really are giving up a pretty big deficit over the Savage at this point. I like that they tried to go for a bit of a Mach 10 rush by, secure the bomb plant, get a bit of damage while you're at it as well. Some
just went for like a really pacey round, hope to overwhelm Savage, and they did. Almost said Savage.
Which is the French way of saying savage. Not even joking. Sauvage. But Chauzy now caught out completely. Bird from Sky is not French, but he's lethal. Dezon, however, will shut him down regardless. French teams are pretty good these days, Michael.
So much so that NA even won some of the players.
Huh?
Allegedly.
Shocking.
Allegedly.
Yes. Our very much French producer in our air is screaming, "Give shock smack" in a French accent.
Well, this could be the start of a comeback here for ECSTATIC. 4-on-3. Savage don't really have an indicator as to what's going on. No one going for information plays either, playing contained into these sites, which means that ECSTATIC have free reign to navigate the map, and they have enough utility to set up for a proper execute either which way they go. See some of the indecision now for Savage as they're constantly repositioning within the site.
Question is, can they put up one of those defenses that ECSTATIC was putting forward every single time this A bomb site was pressured? Twist waiting for a peek to come through, but it's all going to be making its way over from the archers. Pleasant had to peek out initially, and Twist will end up falling. Pleasant's now just hoping he can deny the bomb from being planted. Will there be anyone to cover him? No! Fasher's keeping an eye out just in case, and Pleasant will end up falling. Bit of miscommunication coming in over there. Twist was just so tunnel vision into short, expecting that Pleasant would be able to give him some sort of signal, some sort of cue, but that just never happens. Their pathing was really nice coming in, just hugging the side of the motor wall. And as a result of that, Pleasant was going to be in a difficult position anyway, unless he was going for repeated spots. And if he's doing that, well, then the player on the bomb side can't actually support the player in Grave.
Yeah, the difficulty there as well is that if Pleasant decides to peek up towards that moto fight, the apartments player is almost always going to kill him. And so the interesting thing about how this round plays out, I almost think Pleasant goes by uncleared or unspotted by Dafu, who was the one in charge of actually wrapping round towards the pit position. I think, I want to say Bird from Sky was on his perspective and called it out to him that he saw him in Grave, because it was almost like an instinctive reaction from those site players, even though Dafu himself didn't react. So
yeah,
maybe I'm just reading into it a little bit too much. But
that's also the importance of dead players talking and communicating as well, in all fairness. Just because
sometimes you just need a fresh pair of eyes.
Exactly. And one from the sky is the best player you can get. But ECSTATIC find themselves their first T-side round on the back of some fantastic wrapping play from the Archers. Question is now what exactly is in the cards for them, as CTs will be very content with giving up the top of banana.
Another time in which we've seen ECSTATIC go for the corner nades as well, just in case they do decide to contest that area. Yeah, we're seeing already a couple of different approaches from Savage versus what ECSTATIC had planned very frequently at the start of these CT rounds. With their money on the brink, who's the one you look to push a bit of inspiration forward? Trying to play a very standard game here on the CT side, and well, I want to say Cholsey even tried to pull Pleasant over for a boost, but I think they've thought better of it. Something I've had to consider more and more when watching games is the element of pinging, which, you know, that's something that experiences in like normal pug play for a lot of people, but at the pro level can really enhance the dynamic. Look at the pace now in from ECSTATIC, though. One smoke down and the Molotov in towards the site. Twist is in an awkward position. They've already lost the supporting cast. Fasher's in a great spot to punish them.
This is just going to unravel the entirety of the round. Fasher's lurk can destroy them. There's 4 players making their way over, and the bomb can be planted. Now, Fasher revealing his position means that the lurker's in a threatened position. He has to get at least 1 kill over here. If he goes down for free, it's a 4-on-4, and suddenly everything can go in your favor. But he's bought so much time that it might not matter anyway. Fasher peeking out, great initial kill, but the trade's there from Chelsea. Even so, you already have aggression from Bird from Sky and Dafu as well, suddenly giving up this round into a contestable territory.
Oh dear, they might have gone a little too aggressive too quickly with how Fasher was playing that, and now look at the speed in from Savage. They recognize the position they have.
Wolfie's in such a good spot. He misses. He flicks towards the very end, and that's going to be a massive miss. He does end up compensating with 2 big kills, but man, for a second there, it was messy.
Yeah, this is a really awkward round for both teams involved. You could see how awkward that Fasher's position made, the rotation there from Savage. They thought it was going to be some sort of a B-side commitment, and then when it comes to that post plant, just even with Wolfie missing those shots, that was Manx's cue to swing with him and take the attention away from his position as well. So just being able to bounce off each player there in the post plant for ECSTATIC to keep things rolling. Talked about that Savage money being fairly low into that round as well, but even with them playing a relatively standard setup, we ended up in just a really chaotic mid-round and actual site commitments.
Ooh.
Very staggered peak for Wolfie to have to contest against.
Yeah.
They only have pistols, so he doesn't really have to be too threatened, but we've seen a couple zingers.
Better safe than sorry.
That's not what you want. Dezin was camouflaged. Just sitting on top of the fountain. Oh, okay. Now I'm getting a little concerned. The bomb is over here as well. Wolfie, not like this. Not like this, Ecstatic.
You know how I said better safe than sorry? Well, I feel like the latter option might be exercised pretty soon. Now, Manx is still in a good spot to try and give them this round, but the problem is the contestability is just going up to the max. And at the same time, Twist is also pushing through the other side.
Yeah.
Dezen resmoking does reveal his position, and there should be a good amount of information on both these players being here. Dafu, however, is about to be contested by Twist, and with the Molotov going over, Dafu can't actually fight with Manx. Manx will now have to reveal his position and hope that the second player doesn't just bring him down. A peek to come through, but Grox is intercepted. Max, oh my god, how do they just win these past 2 rounds? Ecstatic, this round and the previous one, make every mistake imaginable. In the previous one, over progressing into all the CTs, where you just end up being picked off and you're in a disadvantageous position. Over here as well, losing down to individual peaks into the deagle, you just end up being brought down. The AWP having the bomb nearby as well. And now, despite both those spots, you still end up bringing it back. Ecstatic are going to be tanking their lucky stars.
Yeah, super scrappy. Exceedingly so. I mean, they just shouldn't have been able to get themselves out of that situation. Like, great effort there from Manx to deal with both those rifles that stood in his path, because all Dafu had to basically do was make sure he didn't die in Banana. Thought we were going to end up in a 1v1 with a bomb going down on that B side, but not even necessary. The timeout called from Savage. I think just trying to mentally reset after being so close to winning these past couple. Static are on the up and up. They are coming back online into this game. No ult for the CTs, so Wolfie can be relatively safe in taking these longer range duels. Again, hasn't had the same level of impact I think a lot of people were expecting, considering he's been a massive component of Ecstatic's recent success.
Well, made. Not quite as deep as I thought it would be, but Bird from Sky is going to be tanking his lucky stars, as I'm sure they have been for a few rounds.
Great little flashbang play and push from Dezen. Fasher's trying to at least punish this aggression in from the CTs, but 1 kill. Actually, the spray, he got the transfer in time. Our observer is getting ready for the trade because Fasher's not supposed to win that fight.
Absolutely not. I mean, the second peak coming in over there, Savage even played out nicely. Fasher was even in the middle of adjusting for the potential second peak. He has to flick back to the player and sandbags and then spray transfer back over to the original. That's insane, and that's one of the reasons why this guy's been, a hot prospect to sort of be keeping an eye out for everyone.
Yeah, not a young guy on the block, but has been chugging away pretty continuously.
Yeah.
It's a save call in from Savage. They've been brutalized over towards that B bomb site. It's the power of that quick double entry can have. Savage understood that they were too detached to even contest or threaten rotations. But Ecstatic are on the hunt. Dafu still lingering into these apartments. Can take a rifle or 2 away. And these have massive implications. Savage's money is obviously not in a great spot. So they've lost a few rounds in a row now. So they will have extra money being injected. But now with Dafu having a little bit more support, see if they can threaten these rifles out of their hands.
Dafu's just forced back for here. That's now trying to peek in, but both him and Chelsea will end up being divorced from their weapons, and that's a lot of damage being dealt to an economy that was already frail. Savage are reeling from the 2 losses that came through in these previous few rounds. It really is just... You can see the difference in the game that would have just made. I mean, Savage would have outright won the game practically if you were able to convert either one of them. But now, suddenly, Ecstatic's managed to bring it back to 10. You're in a very convincing position to close it out, potentially.
And by damaging the money that way, you push Savage away from a full buy, where, you could have dropped a few of those rifles over there on 2,900 money loss, or loss bonus, rather. So, could have afforded up these extra M4s or FAMASs and all the utility. Instead, they have to revolve around the singular saved M4 with some upgraded pistols. Nice and slow here from ECSTATIC once again. Making sure they don't fall victim to any of these stacks. It's all the danger that loomed when they aggroed B against pistols.
Left the bomb in the T-spawn this time for that very reason.
Keep that out of your hands, Wolfie.
Yeah. Dangerous. Now, he will have cheated pass regardless. The bird from Scout's got a nice little spot, but with Fasher having attempted a similar antic in the past, I wouldn't be surprised if they go back and check for it. Now you've lost out your only M4. Chauzy, however, is going to be able to find a man in the back now. AK picked up, wants to keep on spamming away, and with the shot being withheld, Wolfie can end up taking him down in the end. Great patience coming out.
Yeah, it's his teammate that fires off that first bullet, and I think he thought he got tagged by the AWP, but there was backup. I mean, the fact that Bird from Sky got into construction like this is kind of crazy in its own right. They knew he was there. They spammed him. They brought him to low HP, but he just stayed alive long enough that they just neither B player could move. They were put on ice.
Can you actually maybe punish the T-side economy? That's sort of what I'm thinking of right now. Well, okay, if you don't get the kill, then definitely not. But I don't think actually Savage are in a position where they can punish ECSTATIC before just outright winning the game. So that's not really something for ECSTATIC to be too bothered about at this point. So you should see them hunting every single time, and it's nice to see them actually prioritizing that.
Yeah, the only way that I think their money breaks is if they don't play frugally, only win like 1v3s
and die after time.
Yeah. Seems like they are minted for most of the foreseeable future.
Well, right now, Fasher's position might have actually been heard over there with a little audio tick that came through. Grenade's going to be dodged out. Great flashbang forward. Fasher's got the entry. Double nade in response. Pleasant and Chauzy, rather Pleasant and Twist. Ooh, nice little headshot. That's going to be information given over. Grenade's not actually catching anyone out. Pleasant's already rotated away. Flashbang forward. Bird from Sky's crept through. Or at least that's what he thought. Twist and Chauzy both simultaneously chiming in. Chauzy finding the lurker, and with Dafu down, you're suddenly in a 3-on-4 with no presence on the A-bomb side. So ECSTATIC will choose to completely re-navigate away. They know that there's only 2 players here. Smoke down, but it's going to be a little bit too late. They've cheated past already. Grux spots a man out. Manx is down.
Yeah, they know the Arch is the only play here for ECSTATIC. Wolfie's trying to bridge in on that gap, and he got a little bit late to the rotation. Still flicks onto Pleasant in time, and now he's trying to wrap into spawn, but that's the bomb now dropped in CT territory. Fasher's just, there's no shot that he's going to get into that position, and even with their money looking so good, he's already moving to save. So Savage navigating out of pretty murky waters, losing that opening fight, but then this double aggression in towards that B bomb site is really what comes back to bite ECSTATIC.
Yeah, I mean, Bird from Sky trying to get into the CT smoke and pass to Hobbit one more time was just such an awkward little play to be making. And at the same time, you see Chauzy getting aggressive inside apartments. He goes for a close range peek with the AWP, finds that instant kill just by hard scoping all the way through there. So you end up losing out these 2 players, and ECSTATIC have basically just lost everything at that point. Again, very interesting sort of called for Bird from Sky to do that over there. Especially after you've now had 2 rounds where you've had players cheating past the construction on the T side. You can't keep getting away from that.
I think that was why he was trying to basically threaten that was what he was going to do, but then faking it and just making his way through the smoke and trying to threaten that pool or Hobbit position. It's a little bit of like a mind game layer, effectively. But yeah, you see how silly it looks from the other side of the coin when they don't bite down on the fake. Still a little bit more distance here to close on the side of Savage. One more round to feel a little bit safe, to at least guarantee that overtime. We talked about the money looking real pretty here for ECSTATIC. Still buy on buy action. And now we're seeing as well Savage lean over towards that B site, considering how many times ECSTATIC have attacked it with just a couple of players. Spam from Manx. It's exchanged with Pleasant, but he's able to get away with 15.
Yeah, this isn't the normal way that deal goes.
No, not at all.
Deep smoke to cut off library comes in, and with the double rotation, that mean they're funneled through to arches instead. You still do have potential for Chelsea to actually just be able to move over and play from inside the bomb site. Close range op angle that has been favored decently, although still very difficult to navigate properly. And with no one actually inside apartments, he can make that traversal safely, although he doesn't know that yet. Desmond's actually the one who's getting aggressive, though, in the meanwhile, over towards the top of B. He's got a lot of information, and despite that, they're still putting Twist in a strong rotate position. 30 seconds on the clock. They need to commit soon from ECSTATIC, and Twist has made his way back over. The call's been made. Twist will commit. Wait, takes the first peek. Manx is down, and he's not going for further. Oh no, he thought it's only one lurker in. Bird from Sky's able to catch him off. Grox now has to deliver. There's only 15 seconds, and the bomb's trying to make its way over. Grox gets one. Chawsy's covering his back, and now he's still on the bomb site. You can't push through. Chawsy's still there. Bomb plant time no longer present. Dapu can maybe get a kill over here, but even that's going to evade him. Chawsy doing it all from inside the bomb site.
Man, what a great hold as well from the AWPer, where you're about to get overwhelmed. You know, Grux able to get this one and crucial kill, but Chawsy getting all the kills alongside it just to make sure that they can never feel comfortable progressing into the bomb site while Desmond's making that rotation in. Again, these situations where it's actually almost teed up there for ECSTATIC because of the lackluster clears there from Twist, just thinking that it was a solitary lurker. There were extra elements there where Savage were detached and they didn't have the full hold that they were expecting on that A site. Oh, back to what's worked. Getting faster towards top B, you know, been flashing him, going for these entries. Now trying to counter flash here for Desmond.
Boy, Desmond's got the first peek. The second is the trade. Bird from Sky will be able to put him down, but even then, a lot of information gained off the back of that, and with rotations being cheated back from Chawsy, this is a good spot to be putting yourself in. Only problem is, that's a really early Molotov actually put forward from the CT side. Maybe the read is off an early aggression.
Oh.
Could also be that they knew a smoke was dropped. If they deploy it. Pleasant, though, found Manx lurking over towards the A-bomb site. So some early signals that may lead them to believe a B-side hit is looming. That's why ECSTATIC are looking to pull the schedule forward.
Chawsy, in through the smoke where he missed initially. Now he's got the compensation. A 4-on-2. Savage on the verge of taking ECSTATIC out on their own map pick. Chawsy has been a crucial factor on the CT side these past few rounds. 28 seconds. Twist is going to be giving the boost up, and Chawsy's already found one. Bomb was being planted. They knew exactly where. 16th found for Savage. They'll be able to take out Inferno. We'll have to go to a break before we can come back and see what exactly is in the cards for Vertigo in the next map.